Hello and welcome to A Game of Two Halves, the new show bringing you the latest in Welsh sport, courtesy of the third year students here at the University of South Wales Sports Journalism course. I am your host Ben Thomas, and on today's show, the draw for the 2027 Men's Rugby World Cup has been made, with Wales being drawn against arch rivals England. We visit Monmouth Sports Ground to speak with the club on how they are recovering from Storm Claudia, and I am joined in the studio by Callum Buckle to discuss Newport County's upcoming FA Cup clash with Boreham Wood. But first, let's take a look at the sporting headlines. The FAW have announced that female participation in football has reached a major milestone in the country after a number of registered players surpassed 20,000. The target of 20,000 registered players was set for 2026 back in the 2021 Our Wales strategy meeting. Over the last 3 years alone, participation in Wales for female players has grown by 58%. The Cardiff Arms Park is set to host the Welsh derby between Gwalia Lightning and Brighton Thunder on Saturday 27th of December in this year's Celtic Challenge. The game was set to be played at Ystrad Mynach, but the decision has been made to move the fixture to the Welsh capital. Wrexham have officially begun construction of their new cop stand at the Stoke Kairas ground. The stand is set to increase the stadium's capacity to over 18,000 and is being funded by £18 million non-repayable grant from Wrexham Council and the Welsh Government. The decision to award the grant to the club has been met with backlash, with many arguing against Wrexham needing the additional funding. The 2027 Men's Rugby World Cup draw has been made, with Wales facing England, Zimbabwe and Tonga. The tournament will be played in Australia, but how does this draw favour the Welsh? Drinkwater-James reports.
The draw for the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia took place this week, and Wales have been drawn in a group alongside England, Tonga and Zimbabwe. So will this be a group Wales can hopefully succeed in? Or could this potentially be a challenging draw? Australia play host for the first time since 2003, and that year was the year that England were crowned world champions. But Wales will be hoping to stand in their way this time as the two neighbours face off in Pool F. Wales and England will no doubt be favourites for first and second place in the group based off rankings and pedigrees. These two have met at a World Cup previously in 2015 when Wales knocked England out of their home World Cup with a 28-25 win at Twickenham. But could there be a dark horse to throw their hat into the mix? Tonga sit 18th in the world rankings currently and have been described as former All Black legend Dan Carter as the dark horses of the tournament. Zimbabwe are the final team to make up Pool F and currently sit 24th in the rankings and qualify for their first Rugby World Cup since 1991. The group has a mix of everything: great rivalries, underdog stories and the potential for upsets. But for Wales, it also presents the chance to kickstart a new generation of Welsh rugby under Steve Tandy, who will have seen his side much more by the time they travel down under. The competition is set to be played between October and November of 2027, meaning Steve Tandy has just under 2 years' time in order to refine his squad and make sure his tactics are in place to try and propel Wales to World Cup glory.
The town of Monmouth was devastated by widespread flooding from Storm Claudia in November. One area particularly affected was the town's sports ground. Drinkwater-James brings us the story.
Monmouth Sports Ground is a community sports hub for the town, with football, rugby, netball, tennis and bowls, all calling the sports ground home. The playing facilities are accompanied by a clubhouse which is used by the teams for match days as well as social events. But the future of the shared clubhouse as well as the playing facilities has been dealt a monumental blow after Storm Claudia brought widespread flooding to Monmouth.
Hearing about the news of the town flooded, and then slowly I think people realised that the clubhouse had been flooded, coming in through, I think, the gates by opposite Waitrose, and just probably about 3 feet worth of water inside of the whole of this place.
In a statement from Monmouth Tennis Club, they said the courts were submerged under roughly 3 feet of water, with flooding reaching above the nets and remaining in place for around 48 hours. This occurred shortly after the courts had been resurfaced in mid-September, including the addition of new pickleball line markings. Given the recent resurfacing, there is now a significant concern that the pickleball lines may have been damaged. Any cleaning will need to be done extremely carefully to avoid harming the new surface. At this stage, it's still uncertain whether the surface or line work has suffered lasting damage. In a positive development, several nearby clubs have reached out with offers of courts and practical support while ours are unusable. So far, kind offers have come from Usk, Lydney, Shrewsbury, Six Bells and Penalt. This isn't the first flood the clubhouse has experienced. However, this flood in particular poses a completely new set of troubles for the clubs to deal with.
There's been a lot of news about the community spirit in Monmouth, and it absolutely took place in the clubhouse too. About 60 people came down and swept out the water. We've got people in the changing rooms now cleaning the silt, the mud. The stage after that, we've got to get some disinfectant and we've got to sanitise the whole place. Whereas a couple of years ago we had a flood because of frozen pipes, that was fresh water. This is a whole nother level of jobs for us to do. Need to get it disinfected. Then we can work with our brewery, Molson Coors, who've been fantastic with their support. Once we've got it properly disinfected, they will come in and help with the pipes, the cellar, replacing some stock. There's a question mark about the outside and the pitch. We need to make sure we need to make sure everything is safe for people, because being a sports association, the individuals who collectively run this place are responsible for the safety of the members. So eventually we will get this place clean, and we will have to probably repair a lot of the furniture and replace radiators, floorboards, things. God knows how long that will take, but the spirit of the way the clubs and the community work together, it'll happen.
As often is the case in scenarios like this, a GoFundMe page has been set up to help raise money to get the sports ground back on its feet.
While the floodwater here at the Monmouth Sports Ground has now receded, the long road to recovery now begins, which will no doubtly be boosted by the huge community spirit shown here in Monmouth.
It's now time for our student spotlight as Max Drinkwater-James speaks with second-year sports journalism student Quinn Stables about his upcoming challenge for charity.
Quinn Stables is a second-year sports journalism student at the University of South Wales, who is also a keen sports player and balances his studies with his fitness life.
So I like to play football. Played football all my life really for a team, and then also recently I've started doing more kind of running and long distance. Like I did a walk in Jersey called the Island Walk, which is a walk around the whole kind of circumference of Jersey. I think it was 48 miles. It took 19 hours, but it was definitely a challenge, but something.
Whilst Quinn loves the fitness aspect of these challenges, he doesn't do them without reason.
I did for a charity called Love Millie, which is like a mental health charity. It's kind of been like family members affected by mental health issues, so I thought me and my whole family kind of came together and did it as one. We had like my whole dad's side of the family had cousins and uncles and aunties joining in, so it was really good and just like rewarding experience to do all together. Yeah, I'm doing a Tough Mudder in May the 10th. Me and a mate are going to do it up in London. It's definitely something. It's the first time I'm doing like a real long distance run combined with kind of the physical activities of a Tough Mudder. So it'll be an interesting challenge, but I do think it'll be another rewarded one which will kind of keep me in shape, and I'm looking forward to like training for it and all that.
Training for a Tough Mudder is no small feat and often takes up a large portion of a person's time. So how does Quinn balance his training with his studies?
Yeah, it's just finding the right times, kind of committing to it, being dedicated. I think routine helps a lot, kind of if you're doing things at the same time every day, just kind of getting in the flow and staying committed and make sure you're kind of up to date and just regular with what I do.
So if you are a student thinking of pushing themselves, both in the lecture room and in their fitness, why not follow in Quinn's footsteps and sign up to a fitness event?
Newport County are in FA Cup action this weekend with the XL's Travel International League side Boreham Wood. I am now joined in the studio by Callum Buckle to discuss the clash. So, Cal, what can we expect from this game on the weekend?
Yeah, it's a bit of a really weird one. I mean, you've got two teams who couldn't be any different if they tried. You've got Boreham Wood, who've won 7 out of their last 8 in the National League, in the promotion spots. And then you move over to Newport County, who sit bottom of the 92, bottom of the EFL. And they've not won a game since October in any competition. So, you know, it's two polar opposites of teams, and it'll be interesting to see how they fare.
And in terms of a prediction for the FA Cup clash this weekend, how do you see the game going?
Yeah, well, this is the thing really. There's a mix of whether it's going to be the Newport with a bit of, well, I suppose class as being the division above, and then you've got Boreham Wood, who I think Boreham Wood aren't far from being favourites in this game. You know, being the division below, but they're in a great run of form, and obviously the big gap between being in the EFL and the National League, but they've got some good players, they've got some quality. You've got Matt Rush, who scored 12 goals this season in 21 games in the National League, and all you need is, in the FA Cup, anything can really happen. And as long as you just, you know, anything can happen, and they've got quality to do it. Newport have been struggling recently, so yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That's great, thank you, Carl. Former Wales and Dragons flanker Ollie Griffiths called time on his playing career in December 2024. Now a year on, he has found a new career, improving the livelihoods of others.
So I'm joined today by former Dragons and Wales back row Ollie Griffiths. Ollie, how are you today?
Yes, good, thank you.
So it's nearly a year on, towards the date pretty much from when you've retired. What caused you to retire, and what was the main reason for that?
So I had what I thought was nerve issues going on my legs. Once I had a scan on my back, they found that there was a tumour at the bottom of my spine and my sacrum. It turned out to be something extremely rare called LCH. So operation to remove that, but unfortunately there was still nerve damage afterwards. I can live a normal lifestyle, train, run. It's just playing professional sport out there was something I couldn't unfortunately do.
Yeah, and obviously with a condition like that, was that something that you felt you had to take in order to benefit you long term, rather than sticking around just because you love the game?
Yeah, it was. I run the risk of any serious nerve damage if I did continue.
Obviously, moving away from your career, you've really found a new sort of life in the sport. You've obviously joined up with the Dragons, part of the S&C team, and you've got your own online coaching. Has that always been a passion of yours? Have you always had a passion for the health and fitness sort of side of the sport?
Yeah, I think all throughout my career, I always loved the training side, probably more so than the rugby side, to be honest, but just hugely passionate about training, fitness, health, nutrition in general. So like that transition came quite naturally. I still finished, obviously, a career cut short, but still had a lot of drive and energy. So quite fortunate that I've got something to pour that into now, and a passion of mine where I can really give my all. And that's with the Dragons as a strength and conditioning coach, and also with the online coaching, which is going really well, and find it very rewarding as well. Yeah, it's great. That's the one thing I missed massively when I first retired, and having taken, say, 6 to 8 months off. The online coaching business I was enjoying, but it was just missing being around the team, seeing the guys in person. So at the moment, I'm very lucky to be able to do the both. So get the hit with the Dragons, being part of the team, pushing things forward, and then also get to do what I'm extremely passionate about, which is the online coaching and helping other people.
That's perfect. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And finally, Rounders was a childhood favourite sport for many in Wales, but now organisation My Rounders is looking to bring the game back to adulthood.
Organisation My Rounders is looking at pushing rounders back towards adults, bringing back the childhood sport they loved into their adulthood. And it's thanks to events like here at Pontardawe Leisure Centre that weekly fixtures can take place for social and fitness uses.
I was playing with a mixed group of women from all different backgrounds and all different ages, and that was the one thing that really attracted us to My Rounders, was the fact that actually it's inclusive to anyone of any age. Also, it was nice to be able to have a couple of guys playing with us as well, and you don't often get a sport where you can have mixed genders in a fun social environment. So in terms of teams and individuals, you can do clinics, so any of the different skills. So if you're a total novice and you've come into the game, then you can go and get specific coaching for whether it's fielding, whether it's batting, and now they've gone into more specific. So as the game is progressing and getting, I guess more people are playing it and people want to learn more skills, then they're trying to accommodate that need for people. Umpires are being trained up, and again, as the leagues and numbers are increasing, obviously you need to have the staff and people who are able to run and volunteers. So they're also doing that training, and again, the leagues couldn't run without those people doing those.
So if you are looking to relive some childhood memories as well as improve your fitness and social life, why not take a swing with My Rounders?
That brings an end to this edition of A Game of Two Halves, but before we go, take a look at what's to come at 3 o'clock. That is all we have time for on today's edition of A Game of Two Halves. We are back at 3 p.m. for another show presented by Harry Tovey. I have been your host, Ben Thomas, and from myself and the rest of the production team, thank you and goodbye.